Hello everyone, Maris Dragon here, bringing you some World of Warcraft, apparently. Yeah, I play games other than Arcane, this is one of them. I've been playing this game since around mid-vanilla, I want to say. I was like 15 years old at the time when I started playing. It was so long ago. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. Just in case you were wondering, I am a 27-year-old woman. The reason why I'm mentioning that now is because in my ARC videos, to this day, people still ask me, are you a guy or a girl? Because apparently I sound kind of like a 12, 13-year-old boy over the microphone. I actually think it's hilarious. I don't mind at all, but I know a lot of people are going to ask me that question, so just for the sake of convenience, I'm going to get that out of the way now. So, yeah, World of Warcraft. This is going to be a leveling series. I'm first going to level my favorite class, which is a DPS class, and then hopefully later on I'll level up a tank and a healing class. I'm not sure what the healing class is going to be. I haven't decided yet. If you're a new player looking for some sort of guide, then this isn't the worst place to be. I am going to give some suggestions and tips for a new player in the first few videos, but after a while you don't really need to watch this whole series. You can look up other guides, and I don't typically think I'm going to be very entertaining, honestly. I hope to be, but you know, I'm more the informative type than I am the entertaining type. But let's just start. We have the Alliance and the Horde, two warring factions, your basic blue versus red kind of thing. Each faction has 6 races exclusive to it, with 1 neutral race. That can be either faction. So, you have your Night Elves, your Gnomes, Draenei, Worgen, Humans, and Dwarves for the Alliance, and then the Horde have Orcs, Undead, Tauren, Trolls, Blood Elves, and Goblins, and then the Pandaren are the neutral race. I am going to be starting out on the Horde. My first character ever was an Undead Mage, which is my favorite class, by the way. I enjoy mages so much, so, like, everything about them. Every single spec, you know, I never get bored with them, I love the spells, they're my favorite class. So that's what I'm going to be starting as a mage. Oh, by the way, all these characters here, like all these races and stuff, have their own backstory, so you can read this if you want. I'm not going to be touching upon this very much because it's something that you should experience for yourself, really. If you want to get into the lore, there are also other websites and other YouTubers out there that are really good with this kind of stuff. I'm not particularly good at reading things out loud, so, you know, you get the point. The one thing I will say is, though, that every race has its own racial abilities. It's not super important unless you're going to be very serious about it. Like, for example, humans have this thing called every man for himself. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, it means that it can break out of stun effects, which is really good for, like, PvP. That's one thing I should mention. Alliance racials are geared a little more towards PvP, while Horde is geared a little more towards PvE. Like an Orc may enrage to increase damage. That's better for PvE, like at a, you know, you're at a raid boss and you want to increase some of your damage. That's one way to do it. So, anyway. So yeah, I'm going to be playing a mage. I'm either going to be playing an undead mage or a blood elf mage. The reason why is because I think that the orcs and the trolls are they kind of look silly in the robes. I don't know, like, here's a shaman. Yeah, the shaman looks a lot better on them, the shaman outfits, but not the mage outfits. They kind of look strange. You know, on the blood elf and on the undead, it looks a little better to me. That's just my preference. I also won't be playing a goblin because even though I like them, they're a really cool race, they're really funny, I don't like starting out in a starting zone that doesn't allow me to leave it. So you have to complete the entire quest line in order to get out of there. And normally I do like the freedom to go wherever I want, but that's just my preference. So my main character is a male undead mage. He's not level capped, but he's pretty high level. He's like level 106 or something. I don't know, I forget. But I already have a male undead mage and a female blood elf mage, so I am either going to choose a male blood elf mage or a female undead mage. So right now I have a coin here. I'm going to flip it. Alright. So you can hear the coin. Just tapping it. Alright. Heads for undead, tails for blood elf. Tails. So, we're gonna be going blood elf. Alright. So customize this. Skin color. I don't know, it's kind of generic. They're all relatively the same. Alright, well, just the face. Not much of a change between them, honestly. That one looks okay, I guess. Hairstyle. A little loopy. That's kinda cool. Wow, some of these are really elaborate. Yeah, I like that one. Alright, hair color. Ooh, that's bright. Yeah, I like that. One of my favorite colors is crimson red, so, you know, I go with that. It's not crimson red, I know, but it's close enough. Facial hair isn't really noticeable on a blood elf. I imagine my face is going to be covered eventually when I get a headpiece. I don't know. I'm just leave him whiskerless. Okay. My name? Thandrian. That is going to be my name. That is a name that I got out of a randomized one day, and I like the way it sounds. So, a lot of times when I make a blood elf male, that's what I name it. One of the names, anyway. So, you know, I'll meet you in game. One thing I want to mention before we get started is that if you're new and you're presented with this realm selection and you're not sure what it is exactly, what this is you go to a realm and that's basically the place you congregate to. However, when it gives you this list and it shows you, like, this is for new players, like it recommends you one of these, do not go to one of them because most of the time they're not very highly populated. You want to go to a realm that is highly populated for your faction. I will leave a link in the description, linking you to a page that will show you and all the realm lists, and you can pick and choose which one you want. But either way, now that that's out of the way, I will briefly go into what all these realm types are. Let me go down a little bit. Oh, there we go. Alright, normal realm. Normal is considered a PvE realm. This means that, you know, it's player versus environment oriented. This means that if you go into a contested zone, which is a place that both the Alliance and Horde quest in, but neither of them really own the place, like Elwyn Forest belongs to the Alliance, specifically to the humans, more or less, but in a contested zone, no one owns that place. So if you go into a contested zone, you don't have to worry about being attacked by another player. However, in PvP realms, if you do go into a contested zone, then you are instantly flagged for PvP. Because usually in normal realms, unless you're flagged for PvP, no one can attack you. PvP realms, you are instantly flagged no matter what, you have no control over it, and any and all players can attack you from the other faction, can attack you, and you can attack them in turn. Now this includes high-level players coming in and ganking you. That means they're high-level players, they kill you just for no real reason. They don't even gain honor from it, it's just for fun, I suppose. And while that may seem like, it makes them seem like jerks, and maybe it is, but that doesn't mean anything in terms of, like, the fairness, because even though they're kind of being jerks, it is completely legal for them to kill you. A lot of people go by the ideal that if it's red, it's dead. If your name is red, they look at you, your name is red above your character, you know, they'll kill you on sight. You know, a lot of players go by that ideal in these PvP realms, and you are going to get ganked eventually. And if you start to complain about that, you have no one to blame but yourself. You're going into one of these, you have to expect to be ganked, okay? Now, if you're someone who likes that kind of thing, who likes that kind of extra, you know, challenge, then more power to you. I'm not going to stop you, but just remember that, you know, if someone ganks you and you don't like it, then you should have rolled on a PvE realm. You know, simple as that. Now, this is a role-playing realm. RP stands for roleplay. Roleplay basically means playing pretend. People on these realms like to create characters and build a story around them, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons style, and act out in character. And a lot of people will hold, you know, special events where people will roleplay and they'll build up stories together. Like, there can be a whole entire story, and you are just a part of the story. I would recommend looking up guides on how to RP if you intend to go to one of these places, because there are kind of accepted rules around this kind of thing, so you might want to go check that out if you want to go into one of these things. And lastly is an RP PvP realm. It's basically the same thing as an RP realm, except it goes by the PvP rules, as in you will be flagged if you go into a contested zone. Alright, that's all I really need to say. So, I'll meet you in game.
The past few years have seen unprecedented changes within the eternal land of Quel'Thalas. The Blood Elves, following the will of their crazed leader Kael'thas Sunstrider, channeled dangerous, chaotic magics to transform their sacred Sunwell into a gateway of unspeakable evil. While Kael'thas and his demonic masters were eventually defeated, a different kind of transformation occurred within the Sunwell itself, as a dying Naru sacrificed its life essence to reignite the Sunwell into a fount of holy energy. Now, the Blood Elf regent Lorthamar Theron sees a new hope on the horizon for his people. Over time, the Sunwell's light could cure the Blood Elves of their cursed state. But many still cling to the arcane powers they've procured, and are hesitant to relinquish them. As one of the remaining Blood Elves, you must fight to protect Quel'Thalas, and help redeem the soul of your ancient people.
Hear that, everyone? We gotta protect this place. Come on, let's go. No, just kidding. As one of the remaining, I mean, like, a whole bunch of us. Anyway, I'm gonna do a few things real quick, and I'll be right back. Alright, got that stuff out of the way. One thing I'm gonna mention before doing anything is people are probably gonna be wondering, what about my heirlooms? And I do have plenty of them. I'm actually not gonna wear heirlooms for a little while. What this is, if you don't know what it is, it's basically leveling gear. You buy it with gold, and it takes quite a bit of gold to get some of this stuff. You know, you buy it, you level it up, you improve it in certain ways, and I'll show you that later on. I'll show you where the heirloom vendor is. But when you have a high level player, you get gold quite often. It comes in pretty regularly, and you can eventually buy all this stuff. And when you buy enough of it, you can actually get a mount that you can use before level 20. Usually you have to wait until level 20 to get a mount, but if you get enough of these, it'll give you an achievement, and you can ride around on that instead of having to walk. As you can see, I have plenty of them, so I do have that one achievement. Yeah. And as a mage, I am a cloth wearer. I can only wear cloth. And you see all these stats above there: intellect, stamina, haste, and experience gained is increased by 10%. So that's why they're all valuable. But those stats up there, the intellect, the stamina, and the haste, that levels up with me. So the higher level I get, the higher that'll increase. And I can just click on this, put it in my inventory. Yeah. And I'm not going to wear it for now. I'm probably going to wait until I'm about level 20. And by then, you probably don't need my help at all. You might not even need my help right now, but either way, this will still be helpful for anyone that's really, really new. Alright, well, I just went in by interface here. And I'm going to turn on auto loot and my action bars. And you're going to want to lock your action bars. This makes it so that you can't drag anything off your action bar without holding down shift. So I'm holding down shift, and I can drag this around wherever I want. Okay? First thing we're going to do, of course... What the... that's funny. First thing we're going to do... What the fuck? Oh, they're Christmas elves. That's funny. And they're taking selfies. Oh lord, that is so fucking funny. Alright, you right click a you right click a NPC to talk to them, And if a quest giver has that exclamation mark above its head, then that means there is a quest available.
Keep your wits about
And
you.
normally, you have to accept the quest. Right now we're in the starting area, so it will just automatically accept it. And you can see on your mini-map where you need to go, but you can also see on your map right here. And this is a very, very small part of this world. Look at this. This is a really big world, and just one of 3 worlds, technically. This is the biggest one. This is the overworld. Alright. So, she's telling us to go kill these mana worms because of the experiments done by these crystals. What they've done is they've gone a bit too far, and things are getting screwed up. So as a mage, you know, if you're if you're starting out as another class, you're obviously going to have something different, but a mage has this spell called Frostbolt. We start out with that. Causes frost damage, and it decreases movement speed by 50% for 15 seconds. So as a glass cannon, that's really useful. Slow something down, as you'll see. So it'll just make its way slowly over here, and I could just keep peppering it. Just keep shooting it with spells. And if you're a new player, here's something I highly recommend. Do not do this. You see down here, I'm looking down here clicking the spell like this. You'll be referred to as what's called a clicker by a lot of people in this game. And that means that you click your abilities instead of using your key bindings. Now, I have a gaming mouse that helps me with this, and while you can get one of those, you don't absolutely need one. If you have a mouse that has, you know, a couple buttons on the side that you can hit with your thumb, then that'll be enough. You can also find one that has the tilt buttons, which means your mouse wheel, typically the one, you know, the wheel that goes up and down, sometimes you can tilt it to the left and right, and those are also buttons that you can keybind to other things. You can also keybind the middle mouse button, which is just clicking in the mouse wheel instead of just actually rolling it. However, you can also assign the mouse wheel to do the same thing, like I have here. Mouse wheel up, or mouse wheel down. Doesn't matter. You can mix and match all this kind of stuff. Just, you know, specify it to your preference. Another thing I should probably mention is one thing you do not want to do is turn with the keyboard. You know, here I'm using the arrow keys to give you a demonstration. This is extremely, extremely slow. Look at this. No, you don't want this. You want this. You know, you'll have better reaction time and all that kind of stuff. You can react to things a lot faster, so I'm going to show you my key bindings really quick. Here's my movement keys. You move with the WASD, typically, but the turn left and turn right used to be assigned to the A and D keys. But now my A and D keys, I bound them to the strafe keys. Now, Q and E used to be my strafe keys, but now that I've unbound those, they can now be used to cast spells. And so how you so these are the multi-action bars. This is where my Q key is. But what you can do on bind key, what you do is just click one of these and then press the key that you want to be bound to it, and then it'll show up on one of your action bars. And you can also add shift or control or even alt to any of these. So if you want to change up what you're doing, like instead of hitting the 1 button, if I put something up here, instead of holding the 1, I can hold shift 1, and that counts as another key binding. Heck, you know what? I'm going to just show you this. You know, spacebar, usually jump. You know, I have assigned this to shift space. That can be a key binding too. So, I really would recommend you play with this. You know, just kind of mess with it and see what you can do. See what you can do to make it more comfortable for you. I'm going to alt zoom out real quick because that's what I found for my camera key here. Oops, sorry, key bindings, not interface. Camera key, see? So I highly recommend messing with this and getting used to the controls this way, because this will make your raiding and your PvP a whole lot easier. And eventually it'll come down to muscle memory. Eventually you won't have to worry about it. You'll know where all your spells are. Excuse me.
I need a target.
And you won't have to worry about it ever again. You'll eventually get used to it. You'll get used to your rotation. And sorry, something's wrong with my throat. I know it says that, you know, I'm done with this quest, but I'm actually going to sit here and grind for a while until I hit level 3 to get my third spell. Sorry, well, technically my third spell. My second mage spell. But, also, there is another incentive for doing this other than XP and gaining a bit more levels. And that is, a lot of these mobs in these zones, they have a tendency to drop bags. They do have a chance to drop them. Some of them do. So I'm gonna hope and pray I get a bag, because bag space, limited bag space, is gonna be the bane of your existence eventually in this game. Alright, well, I'll see you back here when I'm done killing all these guys. Alright, unfortunately I didn't get a bag, but I did get my second spell, and this is called Fire Blast. I'm gonna sign it here, as it always is here. What this spell is it's an instant cast spell that you can cast on a target, but causes fire damage, but it can be castable while casting other spells, like my Frostbolt, as I demonstrated earlier. So, you know, my bag's pretty full, so I'm gonna very quickly go to this place. There's actually something I would like to show in that little gazebo. And yes, that's what it's called. Alright. This is the NPC I'm going to walk up to. She is a vendor, but she's also someone who can repair things for you. She can repair your armor specifically. If your armor breaks, if your armor and weapons break, they are basically useless. So, you know, you want to repair stuff pretty frequently, because, you know, you'll have wear and tear. If you die, you'll lose durability on your items. So you want to stay on top of that. One thing I would like to also mention is that if you're looking for a repair NPC and you can't find it, go to the top here, go to this magnifying glass, mouse over townsfolk, hit the repair thing right there. And you can also find other things like profession trainers, innkeepers, you know, stuff like that. And you can see on the map, right here on the mini-map, if I'm close enough, it'll show me where they all are. Alright, now that's done. Gotta go turn this quest in. And she's gonna give me a new belt. This first amount of quests, like the first amount of quests that give you this stuff, no, the gear they give you isn't really that consequential. It's not that important. But this next quest she gave me is to kill these lynx to get their collars, because she's going to use it in order to fashion some restraints to try and get these guys back under control. I mean, I don't know. I think they're I think they're pretty peaceful to me. They're not really out of control. But either way, so we do have to kill these guys because the magic is affecting them as well. They're just basically trying to clean up the mess. This is a running theme with the Blood Elves. Their addiction to magic is pretty crippling, or at least it can be. If a Blood Elf becomes way too addicted to to magic, they become what's called a wretched. And when that happens, they become very gangly, very pale, very decrepit looking, very unhealthy looking, and they basically have lost their minds. They will do anything and everything for their next, a bit of magic or mana to feed their addiction. That's all they care about. They will kill for it. It is that big of an addiction. So, this is what these guys are trying to fight against. They're at war with themselves as much as they are with, outside threats. And we're going to be getting more into that later. You'll see some of the other things that they have to contend with. Alright, we're back up here. An Orc Hunter is joining us today. Look at that.
Anaria Shola.
Gives me no pleasure to ask you to do, to destroy these beasts. Yeah, she's basically saying she's doing this with kind of a heavy heart.
Be ready for anything.
Even though she's gone and asked us to go over to her apprentice over there, her assistant, you can see all these quests that just popped up on our mini-map, and we're going to go to all of them and pick them all up. This is something you should probably get into the habit of doing. Pick up all the quests in an area, and then try to do them all at once, and turn them in all at once. It's a kitty.
The eternal sun guides us. We will have justice.
That guy just gave us a new bag. Yeah. There are quests nearby that will give you bags, so I don't have to worry too much. But, you know, I really do wish I had more bags. So I'm going to quickly sell my
I
stuff.
have one-of-a-kind items.
Come on, take it.
Death to all who oppose us.
Glory to the Sindori.
Right. And this guy has asked us to cast Arcane Torrent on one of these guys. What Arcane Torrent does is, you know, it interrupts spell casting and causes things to be silenced for a few seconds. Silencing means they can't cast spells. So it's pretty good for either PvP or PvE. It's not as good as other things, but it can be useful. Do you need something, lady? It's not. I'm gonna go over to this guy really quick, and I'm gonna pick up his quest.
Keep your wits about you.
Alright. Now he has asked us to kill the feral tenders, which are those walking trees that we saw before, or you might have seen before. And those things, those tenders, they basically used to care for the gardens in this place. And now they're also out of control because of what's happened, so, yeah. I mean, they don't attack anyone unless you do, so I don't think they're out of control, but I mean, I guess they're not picking the weeds? I don't get it. Alright, well, I'm gonna quickly pick this up, and I'm gonna kill these guys for the arcane slivers. That's something funny, actually. I used to call them silvers, because they are kind of silvery in color. You see? But they're actually called slivers. I called them silvers for such a long time.
I need to target something first.
Broom that sweeps itself. Wishful thinking. And that is the last silver. Sorry, sliver. Alright, now we're gonna go down and kill these walking trees. I will be killing more of these guys than is necessary, because I'm still holding out for the hope of a bag, of getting one of those bags. Gotta get one. At this rate, I don't think I am gonna get one, but, you know, they're kind of rare. Yeah, I can hope. One thing I can mention about this place, though, is that you'll notice it's you'll notice it's kind of a summery place, even though we're pretty far north. And even on this continent, there's a place called Winter Spring. It's pretty far north. It's, you know, a lot of snow all the time. Up here, that's not the case because of the magic that permeates this place. I mean, you can see it coming out of the very roots. Assuming those are roots. They might be fireflies. But, you know, I've never seen fireflies glow like that, so I'm just gonna say that's probably magic. And the sunwell is yellow, so your guess is as good as mine. So, while I'm going up here to get this orb for the, what's his name, Solonian? And if you're ever unsure of where I'm going, I can't imagine anyone's actually following along with this, but if you're unsure of where I'm going, all you really need to do is check your map, and it'll direct you to where you need to go. Here's the last of those 3 items we need to pick up. I'm gonna come up here and quickly read this. You can read that if you want. This is the Shrine of Dothramar, specifically Dothramar's Sunstrider. Who he is, he's basically the first king of the Blood Elves. Technically he was a king only in name. He didn't really rule anyone. but he did a lot of other things besides what I'm about to say, but when the Blood Elves were banished and had to, like, they were lost, weren't sure where to go, he led them to this place and helped build the society. He was basically the leader of the Blood Elves and led them here. After I'm done killing some of these guys, I'm gonna go and empty my bags. And I'll see you back at the guy who gave me the quest to kill this guy. Now that I've all messed up, I'm going to turn in all these quests. I'm gonna first start up here with this guy. And just kind of go in a counterclockwise fashion.
Anubilore Delana. The reckoning is at hand.
Reach level 5. This is Frost Nova. What that does for me is basically like, is there a... Oh yeah, here it was. Let's say I'm attacking something and it's up here, you know, like, beat my ass. I can... I can go ahead and Frost Nova it to keep it still, so I can get out of range, and then start shooting it again. So it's good if you have quite a few mobs after you and you need to slow them down.
The reckoning is at hand.
Okay, and the gloves. Man, something is wrong with my throat.
What business have you? Shorel Aran.
Do not
Alright, you
loiter.
can have those pants.
Remember the sun well.
You can never have any. You can never have too many pants. Who are you? High five. Yeah, I high five random people sometimes. Don't judge me.
Anaria Shola. Time is of the essence.
Right? I know for a fact these guys drop bags, so... Still hoping for one. Gotta say, the architecture in this place is pretty cool. It's really interesting. Alright, the first time you kill one of these and loot them, they're gonna have an item that starts a quest. Typically when that happens, it just kind of pings up here. You can click on it. That one auto, that was kind of the second nature for me. When that sort of stuff turns up, you have to click on it and hit accept. But that auto accepted for me, so I didn't need to do that, but you know, just just basic muscle memory. It's what I'm used to, and you'll get used to it as well. It's Warlock.
I need to target something first.
Okay, you and me, girl. Come on. No? Aw. Actually, I gotta kill a few more of those myself. But I'm gonna go up here. And looks like this guy's already been killed, but luckily for us, we don't need to worry about that. He'll respawn really fast. I guess I could show you this, though. This is what happens to a blood elf when they become a wretched. They become very gangly, very pale, very unhealthy looking, like I said before. And at that point, they're just... you can't help them. There's no way you can bring them back. Okay, here's our turn.
Take heart. Your friends will not long mourn your...
I'm sorry, what? Yeah. And this is kind of a shortcut down. You don't have to walk all the way down. You just jump off here. And then onto that ramp down there. But I need to kill a few more of these guys, so I should probably stay here. I'll meet you back at the quest giver when I'm done.
Yes.
Right, get this one done.
Hold your head high.
And we gotta turn in that one up there. And he gave us a quest to aiding the Outrunners, which we'll get into. We'll get to in the next episode, actually.
Victory lies ahead. Stay the course.
Alright, those 6, sweet.
Everything has a price.
Alright, take this, take all that, take all those. Take that too, take that in particular.
We will have justice.
Kudos to you if you know that reference. Alright. So now, we basically are ready to leave this place. This place is all done. There are no more quests here. And this is typically how it goes. You complete a bunch of quests, it'll kind of string together and lead you to other places. And even if it doesn't, then there are other ways to, you know, start some quests. And I'll get to that in a future episode. So now, we're going to follow this road, across that bridge, and on to Falconwing Square. It's basically where we're going to be heading. Alright, well, that basically concludes the first very small step in a very long journey. Well, I hope I was informative enough for you, just in case you're a new person trying to, you know, figure this game out. And I hope I was slightly entertaining for those of you who are actually know how to play this game. Either way, have a good one, and I'll see you in the next episode.